either younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
If you study Floyd closely, like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
Terence Crawford has reportedly agreed to Floyd Mayweather's fight offer during a live interview with Stephen A. Smith. Crawford explains that boxing, for him, is about testing boundaries and embracing challenges regardless of their scale. He stresses that the best must always face the best, and he is prepared to rise again. With composed confidence, Crawford states that meeting Mayweather is another chance to validate himself and exceed every expectation placed upon him.
Because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy,
Stephen A. Smith has long been outspoken in his sports commentary, and boxing is no exception. When he praises Terence Crawford for becoming a champion in 4 separate weight divisions, it is more than a casual remark. It is recognition of a rare achievement in today's boxing landscape. In an era where many hesitate to risk moving across divisions, Crawford's ability to dominate at 4 weights places him in a special category. Stephen A. emphasizes that such versatility and control secure Crawford's standing as a true pound-for-pound great, showcasing his adaptability, technical skill, mental strength, and relentless drive to face tougher competition.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab. He used his distance. He had poise in the ring. He wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Roy Jones Jr., a legend who understands what it takes to reign across divisions, has spoken highly of Crawford's brilliance in the ring. He noted that in Crawford's fight with Canelo Alvarez, he showed the ability to draw from the arsenals of Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara, 2 men who had previously troubled Canelo in different ways. Jones explained that this skill to watch, learn, and then apply winning strategies makes Crawford extraordinary. It proves he is not just a skilled fighter, but also a smart student of the sport. What impressed Jones most was how Crawford didn't merely copy, but reshaped those tactics into his own rhythm, making them even more effective. This adaptability sets him apart from fighters who depend on one style and falter against top competition.
As Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career, people like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint, and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me. It's just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I knew from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. Bud got hit with some shots.
He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. He's going out, and Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a two-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie, and sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
The idea of Crawford facing Floyd Mayweather, even in an exhibition, has triggered heated debate. Critics argue such a fight could weaken Crawford's legacy. They suggest that instead of building on his defining wins like defeating Errol Spence and outclassing Canelo, he would appear to chase money rather than glory. This belief comes from Mayweather's later career, which has focused on lucrative exhibitions instead of meaningful legacy bouts. Observers warn that Crawford has sacrificed too much to risk being seen as a fighter who values money over history. Yet others counter that his legacy is already cemented, and if he chooses to face Mayweather, it would simply become another compelling chapter in his remarkable journey.
Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.
When fans evaluate the careers of Mayweather and Crawford, the debate grows complicated. Floyd's resume includes victories over some of boxing's greatest names, yet critics often emphasize the timing of those wins. Canelo was still young and inexperienced when he fought Mayweather, and Pacquiao entered their long-awaited 2015 bout with an injury. In addition, Floyd's reluctance to allow rematches, particularly with Pacquiao, created doubts among many followers. By contrast, Crawford's dominance has been earned against opponents widely viewed as being at their peak when facing him. This comparison fuels ongoing discussions over whether Mayweather's undefeated record was the result of unmatched skill or carefully calculated timing and matchmaking.
Floyd Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say their accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. There's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud in my opinion.
Tony Jeff, a respected boxing analyst, has stressed that Floyd Mayweather's greatest strength was not only his speed or defense, but his mindset. Jeff explains that Floyd's unshakable belief in beating anyone made him truly dangerous. Even in tightly matched fights, his supreme boxing IQ and confidence gave him the advantage. Mayweather's ability to study opponents, adapt instantly, and remain calm under pressure separated him from fighters relying mainly on athleticism. Jeff notes that this mental edge, paired with technical precision, made Floyd appear nearly untouchable, and explains why he ultimately retired with an unbeaten record.
Mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now. where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete, or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013, when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit.
The boxing community is always eager for exciting matchups. And one of the most discussed possibilities is Terence Crawford against David Benavidez. Benavidez offers size, power, and relentless pressure, qualities that create a distinct challenge. Many fans believe this potential fight represents the kind of risk that could push Crawford further than ever before. Speculation continues despite no official announcement. The debate reflects fans' hunger for dangerous, legacy-defining contests, instead of exhibitions that generate more financial appeal than sporting significance. Crawford versus Benavidez would symbolize skill against size, accuracy against aggression, making it a dream fight in the eyes of many devoted boxing followers.
Not me, but shocked the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, what he took on defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majamov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?